All right, welcome back, players. We're here with the cool review for our Tarkir Dragonstorm Megadraft. Kicking it off with Travis C, the random jobber who Alex L and Alex O followed during commentary. So yeah, we won't linger too long on this one. We kind of saw what's going on here.
It's black, red. We have some more splashing, lots of lands to fix for mana, a couple of other spells that can help fix. Good
Kind of the
efficient removal.
power of the 5 color deck too is you just
Yeah.
get all the mythics and rares that people didn't want. So I know you guys saw like the Anafenza and Sidisi coming around, and the Stormscale Sign too. Later picks. None of these were his first picks in the packs.
Yeah, the Mountain Monastery was a pick that surprised me. I can't remember what it was against, but I mean, it's a good land.
And it makes sense if he's planning on going late. It can help you just grind out if you don't have something in hand. So I think looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's like we're solid. We're just gonna kill yourself early and hope we
It's one
work
of
out in
those
the late
decks
game.
that, yeah, you can't really say until you watch it in the game. It's just too much going on to really.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a 5 color deck. All right,
Who we got next?
We've seen these cards, so we'll jump over to
Let's go.
our next player. So this is Adam S. So Adam S, aka Wisma, is representing the Sultai here. So let's take a look. I'll sort by rarity so we can kind of see what spicy cards to look out for. I already see one right away.
That is a River Regent, one of the best cards in TDM. Very powerful in tempo play, just return 2 other non-land permanents. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. I'm seeing some nice rares there. The Crux of Fate, big old Wrath he's got. And then also the turtle, he's got the big turtle.
He's got the turtle and he's got a Flesh Crafter, so he can copy either his Regent or his Storm Shell.
Double turtle.
Yes, double turtle.
I actually put this card. So, fun fact, I helped design the Tarkir Reforged sheet, and this is my favorite card on the entire sheet, Crux of Fate. So I'm glad to see it pop up.
I suppose, it's been such like a dragon-heavy format too.
Yeah,
you have an actual decision to make.
That could actually be a devastating play against some of the 5-color dragon decks.
See if there's anything fun in his sideboard. We didn't get to see in his main deck. Growing Dreads in the sideboard, pretty interesting.
Seeing Savage Punch as well, like.
Yeah.
It means he's probably pretty happy with what he's got if these are in his sideboard. He's not cutting cards because of mana issues or anything.
Threats around every corner down here. Threats around every corner down here too. That card's great.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. I suppose in this there's a secret synergy of morphs and manifest cards.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's sort by curve again. Pretty early curve.
Yeah, and I like that. I'm seeing the synchronized charge is really great way to finish a game. Leaves counters behind.
I mean, synchronized charge. We didn't call out the Ozolith, but synchronized charge with the Ozolith is pretty devastating.
Oh yes, yeah, that's a good call.
And so obviously I'm obsessed with the counters deck, but there's a stalwart successor in here too as well. Like, he's got a couple of different countering.
Stalwart successor with Ozolith is also a fun combination, since it will add 1 every time it moves.
Yeah. So this looks to be pretty close to his main deck. I mean, this is it's 8 lands, 38 cards, so maybe a couple more cuts, but this looks like it's pretty solid. It's pretty focused. It has a game plan.
I like it.
Looks good.
It's disparity going from the 5-color nonsense to this.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump over to Tony. The icon showing him as white-red.
Yep.
There we go. Oh, all right.
Look at that. Oh, okay.
This is the Boros, and with the Ugin.
With a Nugan. I mean, every deck wants a Nugan, right?
Yeah.
I expect him to play it. There's a world where you don't. I think there's a world where Ugin's a great card, but he's not actually all that. It's very easy to put him down and not draw anything that wins the late game anyway, so it's possible he sideboards it.
Like, just focus on, like, kill your opponent.
I mean, looking at, he's got 4 Shock Brigades, one of the best 2-drops
Yeah,
in
wow.
the set, certainly for aggro Boros. You love that card. Double
Two
Fortress
Battlecry
King
Goblin. Two Battlecry Goblin's really great too. This card's excellent. Yeah, so I mean, this was a very disciplined draft. He's only ended up with 2 rares. I don't know if there's any in the sideboard that he's not playing, but yeah, I mean, having the discipline to just stick to white-red, not, get tempted by the numerous dragons and whatnot that's going around.
It's hard.
I do like the the real secret deck with the Zugan in this deck though is Pilgrim's Eye, Dragon, Loft Idol, and Conductor Machete. He's got the 3 colorless cards for it.
He does.
There we go.
He does.
Yeah, I assume there's. I mean, this is 51 cards. There's a Snowman Dragon here, so obviously this is his main deck.
There's things which are being cut. The double
Maybe the Willy Loxodon makes
charge.
3 mana 2/2.
I think the double inspired charge is an important shout out because that's an effect which we don't have in baseline TDM and is going to be very good for how wide these boards can get.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Shock Brigades, right? Yeah, like that's already 2 bodies on 1 creature that get pumped by it.
So, can you hover over Shock Brigade again, please? Like, what character? Okay, so goblins, yeah, because look at the 2 cards above them. So they've got the Shock Brigades and 2 Battlecry goblins.
Yes.
That's notable. That's a good point. And he's got a horse outburst too with his Battlecry goblins, yeah.
This deck is terrifying.
I believe Underfoot Underdogs also creates goblins.
Yeah, it does.
Underfoot Underdogs Goblin, Goblin. Wow, this Battlecry Goblin,
actually some Goblin tribal going on here.
Alright, currently I think this is the deck to beat. Crux of Fate can do the job. I'm not sure what else can.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be terrifying for any deck like Travis's that was just trying to play 5 color. Like, this is just going to people.
And this is where, those skin guards and the Kieran's also. He only has 1 Kieran, but that's still a very powerful play. Yeah, I like it.
Yep. All right, let's jump over to Vincent. So,
and we get another Mardu.
More red, white. Yeah, so he's got some black cards in here too. That's what I already. But I see this Grim Haruspex, notable black card.
Yeah, like
it's actually wow.
This is only red.
Even more disappointing. So, but he got a lot more of these red, white, gold cards. Like we see Quarry Mountain Stalwart. We see 2 Sky Terror, which is a great card.
Yeah.
It feels a little more torn between the Jest guy and the Mardu of the red, white.
Yeah.
It does
compared to last deck.
Having
sideboard.
Having an Exhale in sideboard, I wouldn't be surprised to see that move to the main deck.
Exhale's an interesting one for aggro because it's not proactive, and so there's times where I don't run it in my red-white decks just because it doesn't clear the way for attackers. It's not a bad removal spell, but it's a lot better in the slower decks that are trying to be more defensive.
It is.
The 2 Inspired charge in the sideboard is kind of crazy too. I mean,
I wouldn't be. How many cards do you have?
51. I'm kind of thinking the black might get cut.
I mean, he doesn't have as much mobilize as we saw in Tony's. Like, there's 1 Shock Brigade, but there's not 4. 2 Swiss Beers is pretty fun too.
3 Glory.
It looks a little less. It looks a little slower than Tony's deck, but it's got kind of more of a mid-range game with 2 Quarry Mountain Stalwarts. The war effort in here, so it looks like it can play maybe a little bit later than Tony's deck would be able to.
Yeah. I feel like he might have been cut a little bit on some of what he wanted.
It's always funny to watch these mega drafts and see 2 people drafting like basically the same deck next to each other. It happens more often than you'd think. And, speaking of, we have
here's the
guy, which also is red white. So we have now 3 red white players in a row.
Which
there's
see what's going on here.
As we called out, red white is one of the top top. That is
good.
Crazy. That is crazy. Wow.
We saw one of these that was in one of Travis's packs, right? Where he
passed. Oh, that's what he passed over the. He took the steel cutter instead. He
took
steel cutter and passed this.
Where we see 3 mythics. Really, these aren't mythics.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
great.
If you think about it, that's really like what 5 mythics when you cast them all.
Yeah, it's one card, right? This looks great. I mean, he's got a lot of like classic Jeskai cards, right? Rally the Monastery. I love Secret of the Way.
Secret
3/6 of the
great
Praise.
card.
This looks
I mean,
like a very good.
The ride down's interesting.
The ride down is interesting, but this is 48 cards we're looking at, so it's possible he still needs some cuts.
There's a
I feel
couple
like
of
they could do
green
some
cards
trades.
which are going to be cut for sure.
See what's chilling in the sideboard. Anything
Like if he
interesting?
could trade with his, if he could trade with his navy, he'd probably sort that ride down for an autistic sale.
It's 1,000 wins down here.
That card's
kind
really good.
Kind of an interesting one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
slow. Maybe it's just the slowness.
I'd expect it's slow because you really want to be playing that as a morph creature, but that's a 2/2 for 3, which Jeskai wants to go quite a bit faster than that.
Like 3 mana 2/2. It's, I don't know. If you're not against Boros, you can probably get away with it. But like I don't know. I think that could make the cuts. But
I
there's
had
a lot of
one of
cards.
these. So I had one of these actually in the Dragonstorm League itself, but it was a lot worse when pools were open and people could just look and see, oh, this guy's got 1,000 wins. All right, I know what that is.
Yeah.
Here it might not be as obvious because there's a good chance that not a lot of people saw it.
Could you scroll up to his main deck again? Just want to see if there's. Well, so let's have a look at the curve. Like, so young blue dragons, storm freaks. I feel like you could swap a storm freak feral for that thing. Like,
Yeah,
but,
you definitely.
I mean,
could.
they might just get cut completely. Like,
there's some more changes to be made for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, this looks like a solid shell. Lots of card advantage. 2 Frasco seeds. Quite nice.
The Frostcliff sheet, like, so which ones are the Frostcliff seeds? Sorry, like,
Those
is that the
are...
make a 1/1 and trample and haste? Yeah.
1/1 is
oh no, it
the
isn't.
Jeskai Siege.
Which he does. I think he has that below that, does he?
Yeah. So the Windgrag Siege, he also has that makes a 1/1 every turn.
That's gonna that works very nicely with the Frostcliff.
That works quite well together.
Yeah.
All right, jump over to Colton. So our first player in a row that's not red white. Wow. So this is where all the Abzan
Great
cards
Abzan, yep.
I see us. Yeah. Severance Priest got here. Let's sort by rarity. See what's
Still
going
my
on.
beating heart.
Rakshasa. Great card.
That's an interesting one.
This looks like a second Grim Harspec got open to you because we saw one in Ben's pool. Severance Priest. Dramoka's Command's an interesting one. That's a pretty good card. It's situational, but it's not bad.
I think it's save your creature against a red deck, or just beat one of the things. It's just decent. And he's got the Falcon.
Yeah.
Yes, did see the Falconer as well for Abzan. Like in an Abzan deck, I want to see the payoffs for the counters. And in old Tarkir, that stuff like the Falconer, that's that Einok Bondkin,
Envoy of the
the
Ancestor.
Lifelink one. Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of gold cards in this build.
There
are a lot of stalwarts. I swear we've already seen like 3.
We saw them wheeling a lot.
Double Skirmish Rhino is... How much fixing does he have?
He's got 3. He's got 2 green whites and then 3 evolving wilds.
Yeah.
Essentially. So it's,
he can get there.
And there's
no other lands
here as well.
That helps a lot.
Decent amount. See if there's anything fun in his sideboard. Chief of the Edge, that's a cool one. I don't know how many warriors he has, but I assume not many since it's in his sideboard.
Yeah. 2 Horde Chiefs as well.
So he was super on rails because he's drafting Abzan and almost his entire sideboard is Abzan. Like I'm seeing
that's not bad. Not a bad way to draft.
Literally one card, like out of his entire draft that's not Abzan, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Which makes you want to know, like...
Hey, real quick, sorry to jump in here. What's the time check on the build here?
Oh, time check. So you've got 15 minutes still.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. I mean, I guess it's a strategy going into, Abzan's like historically the worst color pair in TDM. You go in thinking, this is probably going to be open. Let me get into it early.
I wonder what,
that's a good... that's a perfectly fine way to play your strategy.
Yeah. I mean, this looks like the most on-rails draft we've seen. Like, if this deck can cast its spells, it's got a super strong mid-range game, and it's
I think
The triple trade with
big,
Envoy.
the big question is, can he get Skirmish Rhino on 3? Because if he can, then
Yeah.
the deck's going to work, I think.
right.
But hitting, because he has those Skirmish Rhinos, but the Severance Priest, the Felithar, both of those want to be coming down early and have that triple pip that he has to find.
Yeah, this will be a fun one. I hope we get to watch it at some point.
Yeah.
It's also
Alright.
nice about the sideboard is he just has a lot of options. Like
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
So he
Zen
has
can.
plenty of things he can bring in.
like the Broken Wings, the Heritage Reclamation. Like if he needs that sort of stuff, he can switch. He can just sort of he can really this deck can be really toolkitty and just sort of change it to the matchup.
That's a good point. Yeah, he has and plenty of like early creatures he can bring in if he needs to. Yeah, good call out. All right, let's jump over to Nick. So another little icons here have him as blue green, but it looks like Teamer. Okay, so oh look at that, 2 knuckle blades, and a third Frostcliffe.
There were a
Wow.
lot of Frostcliffe Siege.
There were for
Yes.
24 packs of medium 3 Frostcliffe. Wow, pretty scary card to deal with. 2 Eudoras. I know you guys called this one out as being weirder.
I just think I just looked at it and went, I've never seen this card in my life. I don't know what it does, and I still don't.
Whenever a non-token creature dies, you put it face down as a forest.
Okay.
Which is actually really interesting morph, because if you have a morph creature and it dies and it gets put down as a forest, you can then flip it back up.
Oh, that I had not realized that's how that
Yeah.
worked.
It's a super interesting synergy with morph, which isn't like immediately obvious, but it means your morph creatures can basically just undie every time because you put them down as a forest and then flip them up again.
Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have a ton of morph creatures in this. We do have
A couple
a
Team
Ice Feather
Chargers.
Raven. So there's
Yeah.
3 currently. So 3 we've seen so far.
The Aven 2 Team Chargers. Yeah, I mean,
Threats
there's
around
not like a ton, but shame he didn't
Another
get 1,000 wins.
threats around every corner. Does that work with it at all? Or?
no. That's gonna be
Well,
dread.
Whenever a
won't-
face down permanent control enters, search your library for
Oh,
basic land.
Oh,
works
so
with
it does
Eudora,
actually
exactly.
get lands.
Yeah, so you put a face down forest, it'll go fetch a land, which is kind of cool. Yeah, that's a fun one. Any fun stuff in the sideboard?
Ooh,
Miss
he
Roseville.
does have
A lot of
quite a
teamer.
few options. Double
2 more
teamer
synchronized
deck.
charge.
Yeah, synchronized charge.
Interesting, he's not running these tawny backs. I mean, maybe he'll.
Yeah.
This isn't obviously his final iteration, but there's some cards in here like the 2 tawny backs and Kishla Trawlers. I feel like you'd want in the main deck.
Yeah, expect this will change.
Yeah. Sort by curve again, just to take one final look at his curve. Good amount of top end, but I mean he's got enough going on early that
Yeah.
he won't just get steamrolled by aggro.
Yeah, this is a very classic curve.
Notably, this is 36 cards, including his lands. So this is possible that this is just his final iteration.
It's yep. I'm just there's not really like a big hammered it's not like a big finisher to this deck really. Like, there's the
There
Lindworm, that's
isn't.
like your biggest creature. Like,
Yeah, it's gonna play more similarly to how Colton's deck was, where it just aims to kind of take over the mid range and go tall enough in like turns 5 to 6 that your opponent just gets overwhelmed. But if like Travis's deck, for example, stabilizes this, I'm not sure it's gonna have a lot of late game staying power.
I think that's always the worry in TDM, is that there are some very powerful late game cards, and if you're going for the style, you're betting that your opponent doesn't have more powerful cards than you do.
Yeah. But another fun one. I mean, Savage Knuckleblade sweet. So
Yeah.
there's another one I'm hoping we get to watch at some point.
it's like of the decks we've seen so far, it's like I feel like Tony and Vincent, they're going for the early. Colton and Nijiji are going for the mid, and then we like Travis, who we started with, has got the late game.
Yeah.
Can you remind me, is Eudora a dragon?
I believe she's not treeful.
No, okay.
So. All right, well, we got one more player to check out. So Zach's up next. Looks to be pretty heavily in black, green, some blue sticking out as well.
Yeah.
See what rares he
Siege
got.
Triangle.
Oh no, the Siege Rhino. Imagine if Colton had that too. Skirmish Rhino into Siege Rhino. How fun would that be? So okay, some decent rares, right? Winter Night Stories is great. Hollow Siege is pretty scary on 2. Olgar's Command's great. Some not great rares too, right? There's the Ripples in here.
Ripples, but he does have Insidious Roots, so it's possible that we actually see. It's possible we see in Insidious Roots deck. He has a lot to enable it with double Whale Ward, double Aegis Sculptor,
double Undying Malice. Like this deck is so sticky.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely 2 Gravestone Striders go with the roots, Dragmanglers with the roots too.
Yeah, this may be intended to be a roots deck.
It seems like a deck that wants Insidious Roots.
Yeah.
See what's going on the sideboard.
Ooh, a lot of blue.
Yeah, well, again, this looks like a pretty on-rails deck. There's a Siegebreaker in here that I assume will not be making the cut. But a lot of options. You know, he's got early creatures he can bring in if he needs to. Like we mentioned with Colton, there's a lot of stuff in here he can bring in.
It just feels like a deck that just wants to it's not like crazy powerful, but it's just gonna exist and just keep existing.
Yeah, it's it's certainly higher on the synergy scale than a lot of other decks we've seen. Like, you know, with Travis, where he's just picking the best card in every pack or the land, but like a lot more synergy focus.
This is very much a synergy deck. It is not it's not going for the pure power.
Yeah. Shame he's got to go over here. Yeah. Travis could have had 4. Yeah, but this would be an interesting one.
Yeah. I want to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I could definitely see
it feels like it could work. Yeah, it feels like it could work, or it could really not.
Yeah, it's possible this deck just gets like steamrolled by, you know, Tony or he is playing against Vincent in round 1, so he'll have to go up against Mardu deck.
As long as he gets the Siege Rhino, we'll be fine.
Yeah. You know, Siege Rhino, that's everything, right?
Yeah, we've
got
especially against aggro, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got some decent stuff. Double Grasp. You can do a lot of work with double removal spell there.
Another one I'm excited to see in action. We got a lot of decks. Unfortunately, we probably will not get to see all of them. But... awesome. So that's it for the deck review. We'll be back shortly with round 1, which will be Travis C, Random Jobber versus Oscar T, Aussie Tubby, coming up shortly.